Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Solo Spotlight. I'm your host, Ryan McDougall. Today's guest is someone who's been building one of the most exciting, authentic voices in Alberta's hip hop scene. Tea Fannie is a lyricist, performer, writer, community builder whose journey spans poetry, stage fright, cross country moves, and years of grinding long before most people ever heard her name. She's released multiple projects, two solo albums, two collaborative albums, and a stack of mixtapes long before her newest work ever hit the streaming services. What she's celebrating now is her first professional album, It's All Love, a project that marks a new chapter in her evolution, a showcase that refined, an intentional version of the artist she's grown into. You've seen her on stages at pride events across the country, in Calgary's vibrant music community, and online where her personality, humor, and honesty shine just as bright as her bars. Today, we're diving into the full journey, the early independent projects, the growth, the years of experimentation, the courage it took to step on stage for the first time, and the making of It's All Love, and how she continues pushing Alberta hip hop forward while staying rooted in the community and authenticity. This is going to be a conversation about identity, creativity, fear, confidence, and what it takes to keep reinventing yourself as an artist. So, with that, let's get into it. This is Solo Spotlight. Today, we welcome the incomparable Tea Fannie. Tea Fannie, how you doing?
Wow, what an intro. What
Thank
an
you.
intro. That is amazing. That is
Um,
amazing. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
yeah, we linked up through Arlo Maverick, amazing artist of
Mhm.
himself. He kind of linked us up. He sent a little voice note to me, being like, "Hey, you have to check this girl out. She's amazing. She's an up and coming artist. She does great work." I checked it out, and immediately, and then you reached out to me, and I was like, "Bet, let's do it."
Yeah, thank
Um,
you.
I kind of want to start off to where this journey began for you because your journey has spanned over multiple provinces, multiple cities growing up. Talk about how this kind of shaped your journey and how you grew this to be this stage name T Fanny.
Well, what most people don't know is that my stage name Tea Fannie is because my real name is Tiffany, and it's actually spelled like Tiffanie. So like that's the literal form. But um my dad was military, so I was born in BC. And then we moved to Calgary for a little bit, and then we moved to Edmonton for the bulk, and, like, I do have to say, yeah, I technically grew up in Edmonton. I'm an Edmonton girly, mostly.
Amazing.
Yeah, mostly. Um, and then when I started my music career, I had moved back to Calgary. Yeah.
Okay. So when did your interest in music start for you in terms of wanting to understand the deeper layers of it and not just being, like, a fan of it.
You know what? It really wasn't until I turned 30. Like, I was into poetry since, like, probably 10 years old or so.
Mhm.
Um, and as much as I loved music and I would sing along to everything, my dad actually tried to get me into Canadian Idol at one point.
Yeah.
Um, but I just always thought, like, I grew up on, like, Whitney and stuff and, like, Dolly Parton. I'm just like, if you can't sing like them, I didn't see a lane because I didn't really grow up on, like, hip hop and stuff, so I didn't see a lane to be, like, a music star unless I could like, sing.
Unless you were, like, a vocalist.
Yeah, like, and I'm like, "I'm not a vocalist like that, I'm not," like, I could hold a melody. I say I can Drake it,
Right.
I can hold the melody, but it was just I just kinda stuck to poetry, and plus I was like, I can't touch a stage anyways.
Right.
Um,
Till 2019.
yeah, but that was, like, so I keep saying, like, I always say, "Oh, Waze, like, pushed me on stage," basically.
Right.
Um, he said, "I'm having a release party. You're on the album. You need to come up with a 15-minute set." And I was like, "'Kay, well, I don't have enough music." Like, I don't have any music at all. And so I just remember, like, taking like, you remember, like, Old School Pink and, like, No Doubt? Just the songs that, like, I loved as a kid, and then I rapped on those songs.
Right, like
And
the
then
instrumentals and stuff?
yeah, I took those instrumentals and I was like, "I'm just gonna rap my own stuff," or whatever. I think there was a TLC one, and I came up with 15 minutes of material, and I just remember I practiced and practiced and practiced, and then when I got up on stage, I was like, "Okay, well, everybody can clearly see me shaking. Everybody can clearly see me sweating. I'm probably, like, so wet in all of my clothes right now. I feel like I'm about to faint. I'm probably gonna throw up on all of these people, like." But I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna push through and see what happens." I didn't miss a word because that's all the practice that went in. That was my first
Right, it was just
audition.
muscle memory.
Yeah, muscle memory at that point, and, like, learned from then, thankfully got that lesson, like, practice, whew,
Would you
makes perfect.
characterize yourself as like a shy kid, like growing up?
I was like,
Or like it just you had to like you had your groups and like if you were if your groups you could open up, but like other than that, you just didn't like fuck with people?
yeah, but then also because I was military, it was like I was shy, but I had to figure it out, like, because when I moved, I have to have a whole new friend group.
Right.
So it was like, I'm shy and I don't wanna fuck with people, but then, like, I
You
fucking
eventually
have
have
to.
to.
Yeah, plus my birthday is September 4th, so the amount of times where, like, my birthday would be the beginning of the school year and I don't have any friends to come to my party,
Right.
just like, I don't know people yet, and the
Right.
few people that I do know, they're, like, gone on Labor Day weekend, like, family
Right.
vacations and shit, yeah.
Yeah, that would be hard. I want to kind of
Mhm,
touch on like the military family and stuff like that because especially like seeing different ways, like and you talk about not, like, getting immersed into it as, like, a creative until, like, 30, but
mhm.
even, like, seeing differences in, like, music and culture and, like, how things work, like, how did you find that, like, shaped you? Like, do you find that almost, like, broaden your, like, sense of identity in a way of, like, you're able to take, like, all of these different areas now and be like, "Oh, okay, like, I actually know more than the person that I'm sitting next to, or like this actually, as hard as it was actually like
Yeah.
tenfold of a benefit because like it almost like forced you to like adapt. And like now when you like talk about being a creative, it's like having those early situations almost like prepared you."
Yeah, actually, I always tell my friends, I'm like, "I feel like everything that I've done leads up to me in this music career," which is, like, another reason why maybe I kinda feel like I'm on the right path because, first of all, I get tired of shit really easily.
Mhm.
The fact that I'm, like, what is this, like, 8 years, 7 years now into music, it's like
It's like you're surprised you haven't moved on to something else.
yeah, I'm just like, "Oh, I still really love doing this shit, like, this is really, really fun." But, like, every little thing I've done, like, even the jobs that I've held of being, like, admin really helps because, like, music is a business.
Right.
Maybe the times where I was, had, like, a gangster boo
Mhm.
and,
What was
learning that, yeah.
What was a moment for you when you realized, like, into your 30s? Now, let's briefly talk about, like, from high school to, like, 30s. What kind of, what did that, like, trajectory look like? Was it, like, a slow integration of, like, getting more into poetry and, like, experimenting with it? Or was it, like, you went into it at 30 cold turkey and then was like, "Yo, I'm here now"? Or was it, like, you were kind of, like, dipping your toes in the water? Or how did that look for you?
You know what? I think it was, because basically I left Edmonton and, your first love, heartbreak. So
Mhm.
I went to Toronto and I call that my party years because that was, like, I was 19 until, like, 23
Yeah,
and
wilding out.
just wilding the fuck out. And
Yeah,
also, like, that was Nicki Minaj era when she first came out.
right,
And it was like, I was rapping all of Nicki's verses, like, I knew every single word to every single verse, every feature she was on. I would, like, rehearse or, redo it for my friends and stuff as, like, just fun parties,
right,
and then kinda thinking, like, "T, maybe you should be rapping." I was like, No, like, I would never actually be on stage," and it was just, like, those little passing moments, it was never, like, maybe those little things, but never a serious thought, and then I got married at 24. And then everything just kinda halted, like, it was just
right.
dream things, and you're just now it's like
You're just doing
reality.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
And
like, I got
then
shit to do.
yeah, I got shit to do, and then, like, 29 years old, that shit didn't work out.
Yeah.
And I moved to Edmonton. I moved to Edmonton for, like, my heartbreak year of just
Right.
experimenting and exploring, and
Yeah.
that's when I was like, well, my f actually, it was Lord Quest. He's a producer in Toronto. He said to me in the most best friend way possible, um, "You don't have shit going on. You don't have to, keep anything alive. You have no kids. You have no partner. You don't really have a home." Like, I was couch surfing, homeless, like, just whatever, heartbreak year. You can do anything you wanna do. You can be anywhere you wanna be.
Right.
And that, like, flipped it, and I was like, "Well, I guess I kinda wanna do music," and that was, like, the first time I admitted out loud, like, maybe I wanna do
Yeah.
it. And then I just figured I'll be a recording artist, I'll be a ghostwriter, that'll be my role. And then because Waze pushed me on stage and then when I realized that I didn't do all of the things that I thought was about to happen when I was on stage didn't actually happen, it was all in my head. Like, I watched the video back of my first performance ever, which I still keep on YouTube as a reminder, but, like, I watch it back and I was like, "Oh, you what? Like, you can't see me trembling or shaking, and I don't even see any sweat," and I'm just like, "Oh, okay." And then I just made a promise to myself because I know I'm 30 and I'm starting this now. If it plateaus, I'll be real with myself and maybe get a job music adjacent or something.
Mhm.
Um, but the goal is household name because I'm trying to sign a napkin, feed a village in a way. Like,
Right.
when your name is big, you can do a lot of change. Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. And it's what it is what's I find so hard about it is that it's like a slow clap in the room for a very long time, a very, very long time. And then one clap turns into two claps, two turns into four, right? And it's one of those things where it's like you really have to like keep it pushing. Um, so talk to me at this year of 30. You're 30.
Mhm.
Was there a moment? Was it I know you're saying you had these conversations with producers in Toronto, but what was like this moment that really like flipped the switch for you? Was there like a moment where you were like, yeah, you know what? Like fuck it. I'm gonna give it a go.
Yeah, I would say, it was a couple things. One was when I went into the studio the first day and the guy gave me the shot and he's like, "Yeah, here, write a hook, and if you come back tomorrow and I like it, then, we'll talk and see what happens." And he ended up using that song as, like, the first single for his album. We did a music video, so I was like, had that whole experience right away, and I was like, "Yeah, maybe I kinda wanna do this." And that was all before I hit the stage. When I finally hit the stage and I spit, like, halfway through my first verse, this was at I don't know if you remember the Needle downtown? Has bad, like, controversy now, but, like, there was a bar called The Needle, and, like, it's just set up in a way where, like, the stage is here and, like, the bar is, like, through a door and over here. And
Right.
so halfway through my verse, people started filing through that door to be like, "Who?
Yeah. Who
What
the
what
fuck
is
is
hap"
this?
Right.
Who's this chick?
Yeah. "Who the fuck?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I think I might have something here. I
Do you
think I
think it
might
was the
actually."
charisma? Do you think it was, like, the charisma? Like, do you think, like, that kind of, like, propelled you forward of, like, "Oh, I'm just getting more comfortable with this." And, like, what kind of poetry experience did you have prior? Like,
I mean,
did you do, like, any, like, anything written? Were you writing a lot?
yeah, I would write and I would put my poems in, like, poetry.com contests under an
Okay.
anonymous name.
Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't even want people at school to know. The only person who even heard my poetry was my auntie, and she
Right.
cried,
Right.
and I was like, "I think I have something here."
Right. So that's really interesting because it's like especially when you talk about like ghostwriting stuff, it's like you want to do the art, but you're worried about like is it the criticism? Is it just the attention in general?
It's like being perceived in general. Like, I didn't want, because if I'm writing, it's writing stuff about me and my experiences, and that means that people are gonna know that this is me, you know? And now
Yeah.
like, I came from a world of, like, nobody should know my name and I should be, like, invisible and kinda like, my life was up and down. Like,
Right.
school, I was, like, captain, MVP of, like, volleyball, basketball, all of that. And then from, like, 16 years old, I had, like, bad influence,
Right.
friends, and then I was just like, "I don't wanna be perceived at all," and then going to Toronto and, like, my party years, I was like, yeah, I was still that person who was I'd wait outside the club half the time for, like, my friends because
Yeah.
I'd rather parking lot chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's but
And then now I'm like, I want everybody to know my name, like, it's weird, it's, like, such a weird I've evolved and changed so many
do
times,
you
I
think
feel
it's
like.
because 'cause you're, like, proud of the work that you're doing? Is that, like, the
Yeah,
difference now where it's almost like you've got ahead of it and you're
I'm
like
like I'm
now that
proud
you,
of
like,
it.
put so much work into it,
Yeah, that's true, like, I'm proud of it, but also, eh, especially in school, like, I would be like Fat Amy, like, I will name myself Fat Amy or call myself big because I don't like, it takes the power away from you trying to bully
yeah,
me.
like, you can't bully me now because I already bullied myself.
Right, and so
Yeah.
in my music, I was like, "Well, if I'm gonna do this, I might as well just lean all the way in," and so I just got super real with my music, and it turns out, like, people resonate with it, and not even fully how the story that came out of me, it's like they perceive it and they're like, "This is what I got out of this song, and this is
Yeah,
how
they
I
can
felt."
take it and, like, use that with themselves and
Yeah,
be like,
and
"Oh, this is how I feel." And that's probably like a huge thing too that, like, allows you to identify with it because you can see that it's causing, like, an impact or, like, there's some sort of feedback loop where you're like, "I made someone feel a certain way," and, like, without, like, you know, with, like, one piece of good criticism is gonna outweigh 10 piece of bad criticism because 'cause you're like, "Well, one person felt one way, then that like perfect. You
yeah.
know, and that's really interesting because I think that that like speaks to your wanting to be like real. You know what I mean? And
Mm,
wanting to be authentic because I think that that's was probably like a big hurdle for you of like being like, oh, I don't want people to think like I'm doing too much or I'm like I'm trying too hard or like I'm forcing this and I really don't got it. And then people are like, all right, this shit's corny.
yeah, especially, like, when I first started, it was, like, me trying to conform to what I thought a hip hop artist should be, and so I was
Like full
my
on Nicki Minaj.
yeah, I mean, not even Nick I would say, like oh my gosh, like,
But some people, like, they try to get there, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Instead of, like,
yeah,
taking the steps, it's like, I'm gonna go from nothing to, like, being that chick, and it's like,
yeah,
well, there's, like, steps you gotta
there's
take, right?
steps involves.
And then people go, "Well, it's hard to believe," right? Um, that's really interesting because, like, looking at it like, talking to you now, like, I would have never thought that you kind of, like, and looking at your music too. Now, do you feel like when you're making when you were initially making music, was there any like identity challenge of like, "Oh, I'm this person when I'm making music, but then like when I'm done, I just go back to and I chill and I don't really fuck with people and like whatever it is."
I mean, it's funny because there's a couple songs that I can't perform anymore because it doesn't feel like I had a song called Money Long, and I was like, "But I'm broke all the time," and it doesn't feel right singing it anymore, like, rapping it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, it
Right.
doesn't feel authentic, and I was like, maybe if I do it more as a manifesting type of angle, it would be
Mhm.
better, but this was, like, when I had first started, and like I said, I was talking about, like, gang shit, when I first started because I was like, "That's what a hip hop artist is, I gotta be gang all the time," um, and then when I just started, like, fully leaning into myself, I was like, "Well, it's gonna be the quirky, the weirdness, you know?" And one of my friends, Uzila, he had said, "If somebody could put humor and rap in the music in the same, like, thing, that would be golden." And I was like, "That sounds like something really easy to do, what do you mean?" And so I just started doing that too because when I'm performing it, it helps me connect with the audience so much better.
Mhm.
When I'm like,
Mhm.
"Da da da," and I say, like, a quirky thing, and they're just like, "Did you just?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did. Yeah,
It
you
creates
got
like an
that."
experience. Like
Yeah.
I listen to Prof a lot. Do you know who
Mm,
Prof is?
no. I
He's
thought
a
you were saying
Minnesota
profit.
No, he's a Minnesota rapper, but
Oh,
he kind of like a lot of the stuff that he raps about is like it's all just like yeah, he goes like, "Lookity look, y'all, I'm the dude that caught the football." Like,
Mhm.
and like it's nothing like he just like he's just rapping, right?
Yeah,
And but again, it's like the type of charismatic, like the charisma about it, where like you can tell like the dude's just vibing,
yeah,
right? Like the
yeah.
dude's just vibing, he's enjoying himself. He's not taking too much serious, like, and that's yeah, and and I think it kind of like paves a way for like new artists to understand like it doesn't always have to be like
Yeah.
this
And there's
side
a
of it.
vibe. There's a vibe for
Yeah.
everything. Like, sometimes I'm in a mood where I'm like, "Yeah, I just wanna listen to Ice Spice." It's top of the trash, yes, but, like, sometimes that's what I wanna listen to. And so, like,
Right.
if, like, the music if I'm in, like, a happy mood and I just wanna hear, like, some, like, some prof music and I'm like, I just feel like vibing or I'm smoking some weed or whatever, it's
Yeah.
like, if that's how you feel like the music that you should make, you have to make that kind of music because there's
Mhm.
someone out there for it.
100%. So when you're getting into like making mixtapes and making your solo albums, like in the Alberta community, who was like some early influence that you had to like help
Mhm.
you like guide how you're creating your music and like like elevate you to understand certain metrics? Like, was there big learning lessons that you got from these early influences?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a fan and watching the local hip hop scene since I was, like, 16. So, taking the stuff that I wanna see on stage, I'm like, from a fan's point of view, has also helped my making of my my creation process, but I mean, in the early days, it was watching dudes like Arlo, oh my gosh, Peep Game, Politic Live, of course, K-Riz, Uzi La, um and then when I started doing music, they were also around to give me the same criticism, like, they come to a show and they're noticing, like, "Hey, the way that you're holding the mic, you need to hold it like this," or, like, "Maybe you should move around a little bit on stage, do a square," and I'm just like, "What is it? What is it?" Like, so
Mhm.
having those influences and having no ego enough to take criticism, I think that's really what's helped me, like, climb maybe in the fast way that I have in the scene, and I, like, say fast with, like, quotations 'cause this is, like, from other people. But,
Mhm.
um, yeah, I'm really, really, really prone to criticism. I love feedback.
How do you stay grounded when you start to get recognized for stuff and you start to get featured on like awards and you're having like a show and this and that and the other thing like because you talk about like handling it with no ego and I think that's like a huge like, I a lot of people don't talk about that, and, like, when I had my conversation with Arlo, that was a big thing too, because I watched an episode that he was on, and, when he was on with J. Crew, and, the
Mhm.
guy had him redo his verse, like, 5 times, and I was like, "Does that kind of piss you off a bit?" Like, like, where were you emotionally? And he's like, "Yeah, but, like, you can't think like that because, like, this guy might be seeing something that I'm not, and, like, maybe I just don't know. Like, maybe, like, he is actually showing me something, right?"
Yeah.
So, I think the idea of handling that criticism, like, that's a very, like, grown-up way to think about it because I think a lot of people, especially when you talk about, like, people creating things from nothing, it's, like, the biggest hurdle to get over because it's like, you weren't there when I was writing, you weren't there when
Mhm.
I was, making the sound and talking to the producers and this and that. But at some point, you have to be open to being like, well, this person might be coming as like the average listener. And if I don't take this person, like this is going to translate into like someone that listens to my music feeling this way. And I need to make the decision on whether or not I'm willing to like let people in.
I mean, you don't know what you don't know.
Hmm.
And, like, I always say, if I like the people around me that will if you're gonna give me the criticism and stuff or any feedback, you also can't be the person to get upset if I don't take it. Like,
Hmm.
I'm always willing to listen, But if I don't take it and I still fuck up, then cool, let's laugh about it after, you know?
Yeah. Do you
Um,
have to, like, vet criticism? Like, almost, like, be like well, I always tell people when they give me advice, like, if you haven't been in and around basketball, I
mm,
ain't taking basketball advice from you. You
no,
know,
because
like, you kinda have to be in the like, I'm not taking any advice from someone that hasn't done it. So if you tell me something, like, I'll take and put it on the back burner, but it's like, if you're like, "Oh, I think you should totally change like this, or you should make a song about this." It's
mm,
like, "Yeah, alright, bro, like, sit down."
yeah, but that's the ones that I'm like, I don't have to take it, you know?
Right.
I don't have to take
Right.
but then also it's like if you are a person who tells me a piece of advice the first time and it's something that I've already done, then I in my head, yes, that's the point. That's where I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm dismissive of everything else you say.
Right.
Because now like you're telling me to like, yo, you should really like do folk fest or something. And I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah, you don't think I didn't try
Yeah.
that?
I was like, and
Like
first of all, that's not something you apply for. Second of all, I've done that twice. And third of all, like you obviously are just like
yeah,
saying shit to say shit. And like
yeah.
that's cool. I just don't need to
And
take it.
and when you're, like, as you are right now, like, I would characterize it as, like, on the come up, right? Like, again, we talk about staying grounded, like, how do you, like, make sure that you're
Mm,
always bringing, like, the best Tea Fannie, like,
yeah,
present and not, like, letting it take control of you or letting, like, big moments, right? Like, they always say, like, you don't want very high highs and you don't want very low lows. Like, what is, like, your routine or, like, what are things that you have in place that kind of, like, keeps you stable?
oof, I will take the high highs because I have enough of a support system and I can take care of myself enough to take care of the low lows. But I know I'm like, "Ride the waves all the time." Um, but what helps me stay grounded, like, is the end goals. It's like, "Okay, cool." I remember even when I just got, the YYC award,
Mhm.
it took me until, like, a few weeks ago to even take it out of the box and put it up somewhere
Right.
because I was like, "Okay, cool, but, like, it's not a Grammy." And
Right.
in my head, like, even when I get the Grammy, I'm like, "Yeah, but it's not 7 Grammys," you know?
Right.
So there's, like
It's yeah, it's like people writing like $1,000,000 check and framing it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
and,
yeah,
like, don't get me wrong, yes, like, you say, like, "Oh, I want a Grammy," and I say this because it's like, you shoot for the stars and land on the moon, so, like, even if I don't get to that realm, I feel like I'm still gonna end up exactly where I'm supposed to be regardless. I just have to
yeah.
strive for that. That's what I'm
Well, and
striving for.
it's easier to like wrangle in like someone that has like big ambitions and then like kind of like narrowing that focus and being like, "Oh, yes, that's coming, but like let's work on this. Let's work
Yeah,
on this. Let's work on" because it's like the ambition's there. Like
yeah,
I always say, I'd rather have someone that's overly ambition that you kind of have to like bring back down to earth than someone that's like, yeah, like I'm just doing it and fucking around and this and that. It's like,
yeah,
well, you don't really like it's like you're just here until this gets dull and then you're out, right?
yeah,
Like it's interesting, right? Because there's pros and cons to everything, right? Like
yeah.
the person that shoots for the moon can get like easily disappointed when something doesn't happen because their expectation is so high. So if they don't have someone like a mentor or someone that's like properly like narrowing that focus, but you also have the person that doesn't really care and going with the flow. It's like, well, they don't understand where those milestones are. Like they just don't care about anything, right?
But see,
But
that's
it's
the
hard.
messed up part, is that I have that duality, is I'm actually like, when people are like, "What are you doing?" The answer is always like, "I actually don't know," and that's so fucked up. Like, I'm literally just going with the flow and working as hard as I possibly can, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Well,
just trying.
I echo that completely because I always tell people when they're like, "So, like, what's the game plan here?" I just go, "Well, after I put my right foot down, I put my left foot down, and
Yeah,
then after my left foot, I'm gonna try to look for something for breakfast, and then
yeah,
after breakfast, I'm gonna find out what I'm doing." Like, it's like I'm all just kind of like, "All right, what's next? All
yeah,
right, what's next?"
yeah.
And
I
like,
have, like,
you
my
know,
calendar, but, like, I'm still a Virgo, but, like, I'm a soft Virgo, I call it, you know?
right.
I'm just weird.
But now you're building up a catalog though. Like now you're building up like undeniable evidence that you should be doing this, right? So let's talk about this professional era. And I want you to kind of define it for me of like, would you say there's a difference between like the mixtape solo album Tea Fannie to the It's All Love Tea Fannie? And what would be those differences?
I think the main difference would be the mix and master.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that I did earlier was either from someone like, that's the beautiful part about collabing too, is like, it would be from someone who's, like, just learning how to mix and master, and so
Mhm.
you get it at, like, a super low rate, and you take it for what it is, it's whatever. Plus I don't really have an ear, and I didn't really care. To me, I was like, "You wanna practice, I just wanna get some stuff out there," because to me, I'm just like, "I just want music out there."
Right.
Especially when I found out how easy it was to, like, put your shit up. I was like,
Yeah.
"No, let me put it all out." Um, and then I kind of was learning as I was going. I just
Uh-huh.
I just went first.
Did you have
Um,
like a frequency when you were putting out music at the start? Like, were you like, "Okay, I gotta get" like, were you like the Russ thing where it's like, "I'm gonna drop a song every single day," or were you like, "I'm gonna do like a single every 3, 4 weeks. I'm gonna do an
that would've
album
been
every
smart.
6 months."
That would've been smart to, like,
But
market
it's
it,
just like but
but
it's like for you, you were just dropping it as it was done?
it was just I was just loving what I was doing, and I was like, "Do, do, do." Like, my second well, the whole okay, here's what happened was, the first album, the guy who pushed me on stage, Waze, he owns that whole first album. So I learned a big lesson there also. And then what I did was move back to Calgary and I recorded, wrote, mixed, master like my whole second album myself and put it out in the same year just so I can like be like, fuck
Mhm.
you kind of thing.
Right.
Um, and then after that, it was like collabs like people started reaching out. We did collab albums with like Miss Benzo and Z Wave in Edmonton.
Mhm.
Um, Yeah, and then I just kept dropping, like, random singles. I remember I dropped a 3-song EP just because Sled Island booked us for, 2022 Princess Nokia at Palace Theater, which is huge, and I was like, "I need songs to fill this room." It's a 1,200 person room.
Right, so
That
you had
like
to drop some new shit.
Yeah, I was like, "I'm gonna drop some shit and dedicate it to Sled Island because they inspired this," you know?
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Is
yeah,
there a ratio to, like, songs that you make and songs that you put out? Like, do you have a lot in the vault of, like, music that you, like, have made and not put out? And, like, is it one of those things that you kinda sift through it and then go like, "Yeah, that's a good time to put this out," or whatever the case may be?
every single time I sift through my unreleased, especially, like, Catfish, I'm just like, "Catfish, we need to drop this. Like, we need to
Yeah,
drop these." And then we're like,
yeah,
"Yeah, yeah, okay, we'll do it." And then it just, like, doesn't happen. Like, it's mostly on me too. But it's so easy to do. The especially he's sick with the graphics, so, like, the cover
mhm,
art, easy peasy, and
right,
then we could just upload it.
mhm,
Um, I am starting to do that a little more now, especially the songs that I've released after the album. I think I've dropped, like, 6 or 7 songs or something. And they're all kind of just mixed and mastered by my ear.
right,
So that's why I'm always like, the album is a professional album. I wanted a piece of work that like I noticed that I was being talked about in rooms and I wanted a piece of work that they can like pull up and be like, yeah, yeah, this is T Fanny, Instead of like you talking in a big room and then you pull up a song and it's like not mixed and mastered or properly or
right, it's like
something or like
underground rap.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
I wanted just one body of
kinda
work.
giving you credibility in a way of, like, being like, "Okay, she's legit." Like,
She's
now
just quirky and does her own thing.
what was there more of, like, an upfront cost? Was there more of, like, what was the implications on you to make that jump to do something, like, in studio, professionally mixed and mastered? Like, what were
Mhm.
the bigger challenges for you, especially when you've already been releasing all of these projects? Like,
Yeah.
you know a different realm, so it's like there you know what I mean? It has to be somewhat of a step to be like, "Oh, okay, like, do I wanna do this?"
It was definitely the producers, like, Junior T and Only One King. Like, Junior T had Studio Monk, and that was an album that was Polaris Prize shortlisted a few years ago, and then they also both work with Jessie Reyez. And
Right.
so I just really for me, I was like, "We're just gonna work on songs." Every time I went to Toronto, we just would create, just genuinely just because we're, like, bored. Like, let's
Mhm.
hop in the studio and create. But in the background, I was applying for grants. And so when I got approved for the Canada Council's 25K, then I was like and the 25K was supposed to be for a 3-song EP, 3 or 4-song EP.
Mhm.
But because it took so long, that's why the album was 4 years in the making. Because it took so long to get this grant, then I was like, we had like 11, 10 or 11 songs, and, I talked to Junes and I was like, "Should we just stretch the fuck out of this money and make an album?" And
Mhm.
we both agreed, and so that's what happened, like, between me, him, and Mark, and then Catfish with the crazy intro and outro that was added, like, last minute that just came together so perfectly. So that body of work was, like, beautiful trips to Toronto back and forth. I waited 4 years to put it out because of the funding, and then after the album was out, I still, like, paid for marketing and stuff as well, so that's why I promised myself I would push this album for 2 years and
Mhm.
see what happens. After that, I'm gonna do, like, another album, obviously, I'll be putting out music and stuff like that. I love creating music.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it was basically the grant and wanting the respect of being able to pay these big producers, um, at least a little. Like, I definitely didn't like, get to pay them everything that they're worth, but I'm thankful that we're friends. But,
Did it cost
being
the whole grant money to make the album, or was a lot going into promotion?
I think we spent 5K on promo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what,
Um,
20K on the album?
yeah, 20K on the album.
Yeah.
On That was just, like, me paying everybody, really, like, paying
Like,
and
paying
then
for
also
features?
paying for
Or, like,
features, paying for
producers?
also the producers, the mix and master,
Mhm.
the cover art also, so paying, like, I paid
Artists.
2K, yeah, and, like oh, and then the photography because we did a whole photo shoot that made like, yeah, it
Mhm.
was, like, a lot of things like that, but basically the album, like,
Yeah.
yeah, 20K into the album, and that's why I'm like, "I'm gonna spend 2 years and really sit in it," and
Right.
it's my favorite body of work that I've ever put out, and I genuinely love it, and so I'm like, until everybody that I want hears it, at least, like, if you listen to it and you don't like it, cool, but, like, I at least want you to listen to
Right.
it, like, once because I think you'll love it because I'm really, like, really fucking proud of it.
So how quick is, like, that honeymoon phase and for you as an artist where you're like, "Oh, I gotta get back and, like, start like, is it, like, sparks of interest that have, like, lived in experience that you're like, "Oh, this would make a good song," and, like, how much do you ride that wave as opposed to, like, scratch that itch?
Every fucking time. Like, I'll wake up in the middle of the night because I thought of something and write it in my phone right away.
Okay.
Or I'll be, like, outside somewhere and at a show or something. It's what's worse, and just like, "Why you're on your phone?" I'm like, "Because I thought of this sick 4 bar and I just gotta get it out," like,
Right.
um, and there's so many that just sit in my phone and I never circle back to, but, like, sometimes I will remember at least, or maybe I'll search for keywords, when I'm, like, in the studio trying to get something going and maybe I can't, like, think of something right away, then I'll search for keywords like, "Hey, have I ever talked about this, or did I mention this somewhere?" And so
Right.
those 2, 4 bars will, like, pop off a whole verse or a song.
I'm
But yeah, it's
interested to
been a fun
know
time.
I'm interested to know now, like, now that we talk about, like, creating all of this bodies of work, um, you talk about not 2019 being, like, your first time on stage. I wanna talk about, like, your evolution as, like, the stage presence as well, because I think that's also, like, a whole other thing. Because when you're creating this music, most of the intention has to be, "Well, eventually, I'm gonna have to perform this shit live."
Yeah, yeah,
You
and
know?
and it's a little mix of, like, both. It's a mix of, like, "Shit, I have to perform this live. I need to find a way to, like, make it
Spice it up.
yeah, and then also, like, I'll be creating and be like, "Oh, this is gonna sound si" like, it has to trigger me to be like, "Oh, this is gonna sound sick live," and then I'll, like, cater the rest of, like when I'm doing the
Right.
rest of the song, I'll make sure that I keep that in mind of, like, "This is gonna be a live song. This is gonna be, like I'm gonna jump up and down at this part," and, like, Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like like choreograph, like yeah.
Yeah.
Besides the moment in 2019, was there any other like standout moments for you when you talk about like performing where you were like, "Oh, this is this is what I was supposed to be doing."
Oh, um, Yellowknife.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yellowknife was the first time that I had the crowd singing the lyrics back to me before the hook came. Like, they knew, yeah, the song, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Um, that was, like, a moment of, like, "Holy shit." First of all, I just got to fly my whole band here for free. We still got paid, a little bit of change, whatever, but, like, we got free accommodation, free food all weekend, free cannabis, like,
Yeah.
um, and it was on a beach, and it was 23-hour daylight, and I got to go with my bro, K-Riz, and his band too, and so it was just that moment for me was like, "Okay, like, maybe I can do this," and the fact that I can bring people, like, with me, just holy shit, you know?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
you're creating like long lasting impact.
Yeah, like, I've traveled over places where I have to go by myself because it's not, like, funding, it doesn't make
Mhm.
sense, but yeah, those that moment was huge for me, and then, yeah, being able to go to Edmonton for the art walk this year to open for Cadence Weapon, that was I was saying that that was the first time I got to bring my band somewhere, completely forgetting about Yellowknife, that's funny.
Um, when you look at your writing process, has there been like any significant changes from how you like how you build your tracks now in terms of like structuring it? And now that you've had more like you know, integration in like the professional side of it and like the studio and production and stuff. Is there any ways that you structure creating your tracks now that is different from when you did it before? Like you start with the production and then
You
how does that
know,
work?
funny enough, it's literally starting now is I'm doing something different. Because what I've been doing is like, the producers that I work with are amazing. They'll create like, Catfish will just create on the spot. Junior T, create the beat on the spot, and so while they're creating the beat, I'm writing, and so they kind of inspire each other, like, maybe I'm doing a melody or something or a flow, and then, like, that encourages them to, like, add a
Mhm.
bass line or something. So that creating, process is one of my favorites for sure. Um, or maybe there'll be a beat and then I take it home and kinda write to it and build it. Collabs are always fun too, but now what I'm doing is for my next project, there's certain beats that I have in my head, and I'm kind of just letting the universe bring them to me,
Mhm.
and if they don't, I I am trying to maybe learn how to create it myself. And yeah.
When I was talking to Arlo Maverick, we had a discussion about when he learned like on certain tracks, he was rapping on the beat instead of rapping in the beat. Do you find like that's something that like how's that experience been for you? Do you find that like that is like a big game changer for you when you're able to actually get in the rhythm of the beat instead of just like finding a rap that fits and just like kind of layering it?
Yeah, actually, so, like, K-Riz, big bro, he told me, like, thankfully, when I first started, um, take the beat and dismantle it and add your like, think of your voice as part of the beat, you know? Like, find a way to add to it, and so I would just do that, and then when I would, like, go in the studio with Junior T, he'd be like, "Yo, it's the way that you hit the pockets," and I was like, "What are pockets? Like,
Right.
what is that? What do you mean?" And, like, it took, like, probably, like, 10 different people telling me that I hit the pockets and asking them, and, like, the explanation just wouldn't I just didn't understand. And now I understand that as basically what Arlo was talking about, like, you sit in the beat Um,
Mhm.
so thankfully, I had that advice from early. I just didn't know, like,
What
the
they were
name of
talking
it.
about.
Like, yeah, like,
Yeah.
what it was or whatever. And now I I think that people know me as one of the artists that just, "Oh, she hits the pockets," and I'm like, "Cool, bro. I'm just
Right.
kinda doing what I feel like doing. I'm happy that that's what you like."
What track on your album do you think, like, resonates with you the most when you look at this new album? Like, whether it's, like, personally or work that you've put into it or, you know, an emotional feeling that you get from it?
Yeah, sober thoughts, for
Sober
sure.
thoughts. Yeah, you
Yeah.
talk about that one. I've seen a few reels of you, discussing that.
Yeah, and it's funny because like, every time I perform sober thoughts, somebody gifts me weed after, and I think
There
it's
you go.
hilarious. I'm like, "You're not
That's
even listening
hilarious.
to the song, but I love
Yeah,
it."
and yeah, I'll take it.
I will still take it because
Yeah,
I always preface the song by saying, like, this is not one of those songs where, like, "Oh my god, she went through so much," like, it's something I'm going through right now, and so I think that's
yeah,
why I resonate so much with it, and I up until, like, 2 days ago, I always said, like, "It's about my addiction to weed," but I wanna change that. It's about my relationship with weed,
uh-huh,
because I don't wanna say, like, I'm addicted because I've gone times without it, like, I had to go to Tokyo. There's no weed in Tokyo that
mhm,
you're supposed to know about, so,
right,
um, but yeah, I want a different relationship with weed. I smoke a lot, and I just wanna smoke less, and so,
100%.
yeah, that song off of the whole album, I think that one resonates with me the most just because it's something that I'm still going through personally.
Do you find that a lot of people reached out about that, like, kind of echoing the same type of, like, relationship that you had with weed? Like, did you
Yeah,
find that resonated with a lot of people?
it's funny because nobody came to me about weed, though. I had
Probably
people resonate with
alcohol?
it, yeah, people resonate with alcohol, with, meth was one of them,
Yeah,
um, so yeah, I haven't had that. An addiction to love also,
right,
um, was brought to me, and I was like, "That's really cool." Yeah, and cocaine a lot too, yeah.
right.
But yeah, I just thought it was because, people look at weed like whatever, and also my manager hates it because she's also my bestie, but,
Right.
my manager has a cannabis company, and so she's like, I hate this song, Addiction to Weed," and I was like, "You love it.
Yeah.
It's fine."
You make bueno money.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
with the type of music you make, you're like you're kind of like opening up like the looking glass into your life. And you talk a lot about like identity, empowerment, speaking up. How do you decide what messages that are on brand with your music? And is there kind of like this like, I always find that sometimes there's this, like, some people do it because it's, like, this edge lord shit, where it's, like, how close can I get to the controversy or how close can I, like, you know what I mean? Get people riled up or, like
Mhm.
a and how much of this, like, affects, like, your identity as an artist or, like, your identity as a brand and, like, who's willing to work with you and, like, who wants to collaborate with you. Do you find that that is, like, a real thing in the music industry? And, like, do you ever have to, like, have guardrails set up regarding that?
That's so interesting. It's funny because I feel it in the industry, but I can never prove it, you know?
Mm,
Like, there'll be artists that I'll connect with, like, some especially, like whatever, I was like, "Do I say names?" Anyways, but there's some, like, bigger Canadian artists that I've connected with that have been like, "Yeah, yeah, we should totally connect, da, da, da." And then I feel like once they see me post maybe, like, a pro-trans or something, or maybe they see that I'm queer, or, it'll be, like, pro-Palestine or something, they just it's like ghost town
yeah,
from
it's like
here.
it's too risky.
Yeah, and, like, that's cool. I'm aligning myself with artists that I would you know what I mean? Like, Comortal.
Yeah,
I'll go work with Comortal, working with them would be magical, or like Shad is a dope person too. Um, but yeah, that I think that that part is interesting. So like it's felt, but it's not anything that you can ever prove to be real. All of the like any type of discrimination in the music.
Do you,
The only thing that you
do you
can really
find like
see. Yeah.
do you find it affects like your progression in the industry?
Not anymore. I
No.
found that I found that I would see gatekeeping and whatnot happen, and I would notice that I am not getting certain things or gigs, and I'm just like, "That's wild," or, a lot of gigs would still be, like, all male, hip hop, which is
Right.
wild. Because I mean, there's a lot more female and femme hip hop now, but, yeah. Shoot, I forgot what I was gonna say. Sorry, I forgot.
No, no, no.
My
That's
ADHD
okay.
kicked in. I'm gone.
Um, when we talk about this, like, transparency that you have, i- how was this learning process for you, like balancing like the confidence to sing these songs on stage and rap these songs, as well as like still having like the vulnerability and knowing like this is still something that you're like working through. Was it hard for you kind of like making this music at the start, and like how did what were the steps that you took to like gain more comfort in like discussing different things or discussing more personal aspects of your life?
Yeah, I think, the "fuck it" attitude, like, just trying to really like, I'll think about things and then I can recognize that it's anxiety in my head and then be like,
Mm,
"Fuck it," Just like, "Fuck it. Who cares?" Also, I always get yelled at by, like, professional people. But brand, for me, I didn't want to, like, choose a brand. Like, I didn't wanna be like, "This is what my brand is." In my
yeah,
head,
I'm
I just
pro
thought.
this, I'm this, that, I'm
Yeah, I was
yeah.
like, "I'm just gonna be me," and, like, if it falls into a branded lane or something, then cool, it'll be authentic anyways because I'm just being me, but I don't wanna,
Yeah.
like, stamp it and be like, "I'm this person," and, like,
Right.
"No, let's just see what happens," and, like, being able to be like pro-Palestine, free Sudan, free Congo, all those things on stage or online or in real life going to the rallies, like, I'm at all the rallies, so or I shouldn't say all, there's so many, sorry,
Hmm.
that's false, that's cap, but I'm at all the ones that I can be.
Hmm.
Um, I just it's a fuck it attitude. Um, there's only been, like, 2 stages that I've been on where I had to, like, sign a thing lately to, like, say if you say something on stage that they don't agree with, they're allowed to pull you off stage.
Mm.
Um, you
Does
still
that
say
happen more?
pro-Palestine.
Does
Yeah,
that does that
I found it like it both of those 2 things happened this year, and I thought that was interesting. It is definitely, like, there
people
are
get more protective?
organizations. Yeah, but in my experience, saying, like, pro-Palestine is fine, it's saying, like it's when you do, like, fuck other things.
Yeah.
Like, Jessie was on stage the other day, and she was like, "I used to say 'fuck ICE,'"
Yeah.
and then realizing it's not about that, and having people chant that is not actually gonna change the world. What you wanna do is take a couple minutes out of your set and talk to the audience, or maybe tell
Right.
them, like, ways that they can actually make those changes, go find resources, maybe Google stuff in the city that you're in, like, um, yeah, just doing those
You're
chants.
almost like creating more aggression just in the other direction, and where
Yeah, yeah,
it yeah, it's like you can't like you can't outwardly be like, "Yo, the like fuck these people," but it's one of those things where you're like, I'm not also being like a good human if I'm like letting this happen to someone else. And
right.
like, does that make sense? Like, and I
Yeah,
often like feel the same way where it's like, okay, there's a way to do it gracefully, and then there's a way where it's like, well, you're just creating the same bullshit on someone else's playing field, right? And
yeah.
and it's interesting because a lot of it comes down to faith and religion and like very, very deep rooted stuff where it's like, I find a lot of times too, a lot of times when this like type of stuff gets discussed, you could ask the person that's saying it, like, "Do you actually know what's going on? Or is this like," and they're like, "I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, I've heard it from like five of my buddies, and they said, like, fuck this dude, so fuck this dude." And you're like,
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know if that's like the way to go, right?
yeah,
But again, like you said, like proper education and just being like, hey, as long as you're like understanding of what's going on, we can then not agree to whatever it is, but, like, a lot of it comes down to, like, "Do you know what's actually happening?"
yeah, like,
"Okay,
are you
cool."
actually educated? Like,
Right.
yeah, like, when if
Eh
I do land acknowledgements, I'm usually just telling people, "Actually, what you need to do is just get better friends because you not get more friends because you do things for the people that you care about." And if you
right.
had a more expansive friend circle, you would find yourself just automatically doing things that would better your friends' lives, you know?
Mhm.
Get to know
Yeah.
people, get to know better, just get to know people more. Like I
Do you
it's
find
really
it
that
in s
simple.
do you find in some way, like, a lot of, like, political or, like, personal ideations, like, do you find that it creates, like, so much red tape where, like, people aren't even listening to the music now because like there's this huge barrier to like actually people accessing people's material because it's like, well, first I have to find out like what they're about and first I have to see this and but if they said this then I'm not going to listen to anything. And it's like how much does this like diminish the actual art form? Like
Interesting.
I take someone like Pat Stay. Pat Stay was like a very Nova Scotia battle rapper who's like very trivial, right? And he never really got recognized for what he did until he got stabbed to death. Like, so,
Mhm.
but it was one of those things of like, you hate him now, but now all of a sudden you're saying you love his music and he's great and he did all this for the industry and how much. And it's like, yeah, but while he was alive, like you tried to like destroy his brand and you tried to, right? Like, so how much of this actually like how much of this actually like affects like art getting out there and like is it almost like diluting the waters in a way where it's like how much of this actually needs to be welcome in this stratosphere up
Mm,
into a certain point. It's like, yeah, if you're selling tickets and making thousands of dollars and this and that, it's like, sure, then people are spending money and like there's some type of like investment. But like I always wonder like how much of that actually like is like meaningful, especially when you look at someone's music. Like if someone makes good music, but they're like pro Israel, it's like, okay, like can I like let go of the fact that they're pro Israel and still say they have dope music, or the fact that they are pro Israel and they have dope music? I can't say that they have dope music because you know what I mean. Like how does that? Like where's the barrier to that?
that's I feel like for everybody, it's just different. Like, there's people who will separate the artist and the art. And then there's people that are like, "No," especially this new wave of, like, the new generation and stuff is like, "No, they wanna see your videos with no filters. They wanna see your cellulite. They wanna see your flaws. They wanna see you be a good person and just be genuine." So I think that there's just, like it just depends on the person. Like, I know for me personally, I just listen to music. I don't research the artist. I just listen to music first, and if I hear about a controversy, then okay, cool, like, I'm gonna block you and, like, maybe not listen to your music.
Right.
Because then I'm putting money in your pocket, and I don't wanna put money in your pocket in any way. But if I was to, like, download it or something and I'm listening to it on, like, my own thing and I'm doing nothing to contribute to your pockets, then maybe
Right.
that's different. Like, maybe that's a different way to, like, enjoy it and not be part of the problem, you know?
Right. It's one of those things of like there's like a moral balance of like people always say like character like integrity is like what you do when people aren't looking, right? So it's one of those things where yeah, you're exactly right where it comes down to the person and
Yeah, it's the
what they
person.
believe in, right? But it is interesting because I think that like it almost makes room for people to go, what do we hate right now? Okay, as long as I hate that, my shit's gonna get pushed. And if I
Mhm.
like, and then you have a lot of this like, "Oh, I just know this is the thing to say," or "This is the thing to rap
Interesting.
about," or like when you look at like stand-up comedy right now, like a big thing is talking about like transgender
Everybody
and
wants to get canceled in comedy. That's like the
right, it's like this
ultimate new.
edgelord shit where people are like, "Oh, the only way that I'm gonna get pushed is like really drive in this topic," and it's like, but you also don't
Right.
have to. Like, you also don't have to, but you know that there's more of a reward by doing the edgelord shit than there is.
Uh, that's
So
annoying. I didn't know about that. That's annoying. I can't be bothered. I couldn't be
right.
bothered.
But it's interesting because then people say like, "Well, was the joke funny? Well, was the joke funny?" So like, who gives a fuck, right? Like,
That all that matters then?
right, yeah, exactly, but that's the same thing with music. Was the music good? Okay, but there's, like, some type of ideation behind it. Okay, so the music isn't good. It's
So,
like, well, fuck.
that's the thing is, like, if like, say Chris Brown,
Right,
you're not supposed to listen to Chris Brown.
because he beat
Right.
up Rihanna.
Right. Well, more than that, he's actually just, like, an abusive person in
Right,
general.
yeah,
But,
yeah, like, there's a like, I'm still so mad about R. Kelly, I'm not gonna lie, right,
because I will not listen to an R. Kelly song. I can't even
right,
listen to Aaliyah's "AJ Nothing But a Number" anymore. Like,
right,
there's that is just I cannot separate the artist from the art. Everything I hear in the music reminds me of him
of
being a
this
pedophile.
person.
Yeah,
Right,
it's in the music. Chris
right,
Brown, on the other hand, there are certain songs where, like, it sounds aggressive, but there's, like, one song where I'm like, I just can't get rid of it, but my way of listening to it is, like I said, I will go on YouTube, and I'll illegally download it, and I'm listening
yeah,
to it on my own terms. I'm not listening to it out loud, I'm not even advertising it out loud for people to hear it.
right,
It's like, sometimes I'm in a mood, and it's the only song that gets me out of that mood, and
right,
it's just, like so at that point, I'm separating the artist from the art, but, like,
right,
it's you just it depends on who you are as a person, you have to find your own way, but I'm not, like, out here being like, all the time, you
right.
know? Yeah.
Right, for sure. It is interesting. I think that that's a especially in today's day and age where information's so available, I think that's like a hard battle that anybody creating any sort of content,
Mhm.
um, like, goes through because it's like you kinda have to choose, like, where's your stance at? Are you
Yeah.
easily manipulated? Are you easily willing to, like, go with the crowd? Or, like, you might feel a certain way, and then you're just like, "Yeah, but this is gonna do numbers, so whatever, like, who cares?"
Yeah, like, I don't
Uh,
know. Like, Bieber said the N word back in the day, and I still listen to Bieber. Actually,
yeah.
Selena Go oh, I've been watching so many old school movies. Selena Gomez said it too. The movies is one of the biggest things actually where people do some really fucked up shit, and you were still there praising the old school movies because 'cause they're classics.
Mhm.
It's like,
When
but
you realize, like, behind the scenes, like, there's some fucked up shit that happened.
yeah, like Fatal
Yeah.
Attraction, that whole scene, that the whole reason why the movie's famous for, she had no clue that was happening. Do you know how fucked up
Mhm.
that is?
That's yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, but then people still view it as like, "Oh, it's a cult classic," and it's like
Yeah, it's like it's
so it is definitely interesting, and it's something where people kind of like, it comes down to this, like, sense of self where, like, people have to be sense of self-aware enough to be like, how much does this actually matter to me? And does it matter to me because it matters to them, or does it actually matter to me?
yeah,
And like,
and
where am I at with
is it worth
yeah,
the energy of you fighting? Like, that's a big
yeah,
thing for me too, because there's certain
yeah.
things that I'm like, I might hear about or know about, and I'm like, "That's not worth my energy." But then
And
there's
it's
other
not like in
certain
my
things that's
home
like, I
base.
need to. Yeah,
It's like this doesn't cross my line. So like, there's only so many things I can care about.
yeah,
Like I can't care about everything, right?
yeah,
So like, there's so many things that you have
when
to
you
kind of say like,
try.
or just be like, you know what? That's not for me. But like, I'm not gonna have an opinion on it because I really don't know, and like, it really ain't my wheelhouse. So like, as much as I want to have an opinion about it or I feel a certain way,
Yeah,
like I'm not a stand-up comic. I don't know fucking nothing about comedy. So
yeah,
like I like whatever opinion I might have is probably like so far out of the reach of like what actually is like realistic that it's like you kind of have to like dismiss yourself from having like a
Mm,
feeling about it. And that's hard. And I think a
yeah,
lot of people have challenges being like, I'm going to relinquish myself the responsibility of like having an opinion. Cause it's like,
for sure, like,
you don't need to have,
I
you
don't need
don't
to have
need to have an
opinions, I
opinion.
really
Yeah.
don't. Like, Dave
It's
Chappelle is
like you,
coming here,
yeah.
and
Well, and I have a feeling about that where it's like arena comedy, is that like really a thing or is that just like a cash grab? But it's like if I'm not going and spending money and seeing it and getting like getting like the in-person reaction, it's like,
right,
well, I can't really say shit.
exactly, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So kind of to land the plane here and kind of, ask some wrap up questions,
No, this is
you
so
know,
fun.
no, this was so fun, and I really appreciate you coming on the show. I think we had an amazing conversation. I love to get you. I love hearing about your story and how you create your music and how you create all this beautiful art. Um, what's next for you? What's this next chapter look like? You talk about promoting the album for 2 years. So
Mm.
what, like mid 2026, you're gonna start looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I'm dabbling in a lot of random things right now, like, I call myself a baby journalist.
Mm,
I'm writing for Cups and Cakes, actually, in Edmonton,
okay,
and also Reverie magazine, and I've done an article in, like, The Scene,
nice.
that was cool. I'm learning how to DJ.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
I would really yeah, that's a path that I'm on. Obviously still creating. I really want to learn how to make beats because, like I said, I have these beats in my head that, like, I know what I want for this next album that, like, in 2027, maybe even 2028, you know what I mean? But, like, I
Mhm.
just have an idea of what I want to hear. Um, and then I think that's it. I'm on a couple boards also, so I really wanna I'm curating more stages, just trying to get more hip hop into, the realms of with these festivals, that
Right.
struggle a little bit. Yeah.
And if your fans or new listeners were listening right now, what's something you'd want them to like know or understand about you that you don't think that they've heard yet?
Mm, every time you think I look cool, it's really just because I put on something comfortable, and then I was like, "Does this look weird enough?" And if the answer is no, then I put something else on to make it more weird.
Right.
Also, if I'm wearing something, it's probably local.
Nice.
Yeah, like, this is
Shop
Lokita's hat, actually. Lokita's a
shop
rapper.
local.
Yeah. This is Magically Mango. Yeah.
That's amazing. And where can people support your music, follow your journey, and show you some love?
The best place I'd say would be my website. I work really hard on it, and your clicks mean a lot because I'm trying to get, like, sponsorships and stuff, so I would say my website, tfannymusic.com. Um, my EPK is on there, the links to my shows are on there, there's a whole calendar on there to see, like, where I'm at. The links for whatever social media that you like is on there that I'm on. I think I'm only on a
Uh-huh.
couple anyways, but, um, yeah, my website.
Awesome. We'll put the link to the website in the description, as well as all your social media, um,
Yeah, I got
And
TikTok because my dad went viral on TikTok. He went My dad went viral on my TikTok. That was
oh
the only
wow,
video that ever went that did, like, 50K views was because my dad was dancing.
ha,
So
that's
random.
amazing. Well, T. Fannie, this has been an amazing conversation. You shared a lot of information about your journey, how you create your music, how you see the world. I think this was a great like window into your life for people to understand you more. Um, this is why Solo Spotlight exists. Uh, sit down with artists who are actually living the creative life, not just talking about it. And today
Mm.
we gave some people something real to hold on to. And for everybody watching or listening, go support T Fanny, stream her music, hit her website to check out all her earlier projects, mixtapes, follow her socials, show love to the community she's lifting up. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to Spare Bedroom Studios. Episodes like this and everything else on our channel every week, clips daily, and we'll be back next week with a conversation you won't want to miss. Thank you very much, and bye.
Yay. Bye.